Welcome to the deep dive. We plunge into stacks of sources, pull out the key insights, just for you.
Today, we're stepping to a really strange world. It's professional anxiety meets this baffling legal trial.
Yeah, we're following this guy, Kay. He's got this task sounds simple, right? Show an Italian businessman around the city, look at some art.
But for Kay, it's loaded with anxiety. It's all tangled up with this accusation he doesn't even understand.
Our mission today, we're diving into some key bits from Chapter 9, specifically this file, th9.pdf.
And it really throws us into Kay's growing paranoia. Plus, there's this critical encounter that starts to lift the veil on the mysterious law he's caught up in.
We're going to try and see how his personal stress, his job worries, how that all connects to these, well, huge questions about power, truth, how we interpret things.
You know, what's fascinating is how it shifts. We start with Kay's everyday grind, his anxieties.
Which feel very relatable, almost mundane.
Right, but then it pivots hard into this chilling philosophical story, a parable.
And that parable, it really challenges you. Makes you think about authority, freedom, all of it. We'll look at different takes on it, conflicting ones even. So get ready. Okay, so to really get a handle on this law case facing, we probably need to start with his job, right? The bank. It's like a pressure cooker.
Absolutely, because his work life, this constant stress, it really sows the seeds for that deeper existential dread later on.
It's more than just work stress, though. He has this intense fear of being away from his desk.
He's genuinely convinced his deputy manager is working against him, turning clients away, finding mistakes. The source says he feels menaced from all sides.
Yeah, and it makes any time off, even necessary time, feel like a trap.
Exactly. He suspects they, wanted to get him out of the office for a while to check his work, or maybe just to prove they don't need him.
It's attacking his whole sense of self, isn't it? Not just his job security.
Which forces him into this cycle of feeling obligated to do everything.
That pressure is just huge. He seems more scared of looking weak than being sick even.
Right. He feels he has to accept every single task, no matter how tough, just so he doesn't have to admit he's afraid.
Like that time he hid having a bad cold for a 2-day trip just because it was raining and he didn't want anyone to stop him going.
It's extreme. He's terrified of being, as the text says, kept out of the domain of work and maybe not let back in again.
And this Italian assignment fits right in. He got picked because his Italian is, functional, and he has this slightly inflated reputation for knowing art history.
Both things he only picked up for business, not passion. He thinks his whole survival depends on his work performance, not, being charming.
This professional anxiety, it's the perfect backdrop for what happens next, this really unsettling morning.
Yeah, Kay gets to the office at 7 a.m. He's wiped out, apparently, spent half the night cramming Italian grammar.
Hoping to get some work done before the Italian shows up. But the weather's awful, rainy, blustery, already feels like a bad omen.
And he barely sits down before a messenger calls him. The Italian's already there.
So Kay grabs a dictionary, an album of city sights. For a second, he's kind of relieved he's there, ready to go. Assumes no one expected him that early.
But the meeting itself, total frustration.
How so?
Well, the Italian's from southern Italy. He talks incredibly fast, slips into dialect sometimes.
So hard to follow.
Plus, he has this perfumed, bushy mustache that hides his mouth. Kay can barely understand a word. Meanwhile, the manager's chatting away easily, occasionally stepping in to, help Kay out, tactfully.
And the manager looks ill.
Yeah, particularly ill, the text says. And he's almost apologetic to Kay, tries to reassure him it's okay, praises his Italian, even though Kay knows he's struggling.
But the plan changes, right?
Right. The Italian suddenly says he has other business first, not much time, doesn't want to rush sightseeing.
So what does he want to do?
He just wants to see the cathedral. Only the cathedral. And alone, but with Kay accompanying him, calls Kay learned and charming.
So they agree to meet there in, 2 hours? Around 10?
Yep. So Kay heads back to his office, tries to use those 2 hours to prep more Italian words for the cathedral tour.
But it's impossible to concentrate.
Totally. Constant interruptions. Messengers, clerks, even the deputy manager comes by and just sort of idly flits through Kay's dictionary.
Like, everyone needs something from him, but he can't focus on the one thing he needs to do.
He's swinging between being furious at the Italian and terrified of just looking mutely at the works of art. It really shows his anxiety ramping up.
And then just before he leaves, the phone call.
Yes.
Yeah.
Leany Just calls him up and drops this bombshell. They're hunting you down.
Chilling, just like that.
He doesn't have time to process it, but that phrase, hunting you down, it sticks with him, deepens the dread.
So he rushes off in a taxi to the cathedral, drumming his fingers on that album he almost forgot. The weather's still miserable, damp, cold, dark. It all feels very ominous.
He gets there, and the place is deserted. Cathedral Square, empty. Curtains drawn everywhere.
Inside the cathedral, too.
Pretty much. Seems empty, hollow. He waits around, finds a bit of old carpet to sit on. It's really dark inside.
Can he see the art at all?
Barely. There's some candles way off in the distance, but the text says they only serve to increase the darkness. He tries his flashlight on an altarpiece.
The entombment of Christ with the night.
That's the one. But the flashlight beam is greenish, doesn't work well. He gives up. It's just bleak, isolating.
Then he spots someone.
Right, this sexton, limping, wearing a creased black coat, holding a snuff box, just watching Kay.
What does he want?
Kay isn't sure. The sexton makes this gesture, points vaguely. Kay thinks maybe he wants a tip at first.
But that's not it.
No. Eventually, Kay follows him. The old man seems to be trying to guide him somewhere specific.
And where does he lead him?
To this small, secondary pulpit. Really plain, unusually low down. The description makes it sound almost like a torture for the preacher.
And it's lit up.
Yeah, like someone's about to give a sermon. And surprise, there's a young priest there, getting ready to go up.
Kay must think about just leaving then.
He does. He thinks, I don't owe that Italian anything. But he hesitates for a moment too long. The priest fiddles with the lamp, turns it up brighter, then calls out, clear as anything, Joseph Kay.
Wow. That voice filling the whole cathedral.
Powerful, practiced voice. Kay is just caught. He has to turn around, walk towards the pulpit.
And the priest just gets straight to it.
Pretty much. Introduces himself as the prison chaplain, confirms Kay has been accused, and then just dismisses Kay's whole reason for being there. The art album, says it's all irrelevant.
Kay apparently threw the album down really hard then.
Yeah, it crumpled. The chaplain then lays it out really starkly.
What does he say?
He tells Kay his trial is going badly, that they think you are guilty. And crucially, it will end badly.
How does Kay react to that?
He protests, right? But I'm not guilty, it's a mistake. How could a person be guilty anyway? We're all human. Basic denial, confusion.
And the priest's reply?
Just ice cold. That's the way guilty people talk.
Oh.
Then Kay kind of blurts out his plan, his strategy for fighting this. He's going to get more help, especially from women. Calls the court officials skirt chasers.
Not the most respectful approach.
The priest definitely disapproves. Tells Kay he seeks too much help from others, which is interesting in itself.
And all this time, it's getting darker.
Yeah, sexton is putting out the candles on the main altar. The darkness is closing in. Kay, feeling cornered, questions the priest. How can you work for a court like this?
And the priest gets angry.
He shouts at him, can't you see even 2 steps in front of you? It's a real turning point. Like Kay's denial is finally hitting a wall.
So after that outburst, things shift a bit.
Yeah, the priest sort of explains himself, says he had to talk from a distance at first so he wouldn't be too easily influenced, wouldn't forget his official duty.
A bit strange.
It is. Then he hands Kay the lamp he was holding. Almost symbolic.
And Kay actually starts to trust him a little.
Surprisingly, yes. He feels the priest is maybe an exception compared to the other court people he's dealt with.
But the priest doesn't let him get comfortable.
Not at all. He immediately warns Kay, do not deceive yourself. Is specifically about the court. And then he tells him this story, the one in the introduction to the law.
This is the core parable, right? The one about the doorkeeper.
Exactly. It's incredibly unsettling. You might have come across versions of it.
Remind us how it goes.
Okay, so a man comes from the country. He wants to get into the law. There's a doorkeeper at the entrance.
And the doorkeeper says no.
He says, not just now, but maybe possible later. But then he never actually lets the man in.
But the door is open.
The door stays open the whole time. And this doorkeeper, he's just the first one. Apparently there are more doorkeepers inside, each one more powerful than the last.
So the man just waits.
For years. He grows old waiting right there.
Yeah.
He tries bribing the doorkeeper.
Does that work?
The doorkeeper accepts the bribes, yeah, but tells him he only takes them so you will not think there is something you have omitted to do.
Wow, that's bleak.
It gets bleaker. The man becomes childish in his old age, starts studying the fleas on the doorkeeper's coat collar.
Fleas? Seriously?
Fleas. And then, just as he's dying, he sees this radiance coming from the entrance to the law.
And he asks one last question.
Yes. He asked the doorkeeper, "How is it that in all these years, no one apart from me has asked to be let in?"
And the answer.
The doorkeeper tells him, "This entrance was intended for you alone. I shall now go and shut it." And that's the end of the story.
Okay. Just wow. Kay's first reaction must be outrage, right?
Absolutely. He immediately says the doorkeeper deceived the man, kept the crucial information hidden until it was useless.
Seems pretty clear-cut.
But the priest says, basically, hold on, don't jump to conclusions. And then he starts unpacking these different ways people interpret the story. This is where it gets really interesting and confusing.
So that first obvious take injustice, deception isn't the only one.
Not according to the priest. The first interpretation he offers actually defends the doorkeeper.
Defends him.
It argues there's actually no contradiction between saying, "not now," and "this entrance was for you alone." The first statement kind of points towards the second eventually.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe the doorkeeper even went beyond his duty by giving the man any hope at all. This view paints him as precise, strict, devoted to his job.
Like a perfect bureaucrat?
Pretty much. Uncorruptible, not swayed by pity. A loyal servant of the law, and therefore maybe beyond human judgment. His appearance, the large pointed nose, the Tartar mustache, is even used as evidence of a pedantic character.
So this reading emphasizes just blind adherence to duty, even if the result is tragic.
Exactly. The barrier isn't necessarily evil, it's just rigid procedure, unquestioning loyalty.
Okay, that's one perspective, stark, but you mentioned another layer.
Right. So the second interpretation flips it a bit and focuses on the doorkeeper's flaws, his potential simple-mindedness and conceit.
How does that come into play?
Well, think about his comments about his own power and how scary the inner doorkeepers are saying, "The sight of just the third is too much even for me." This interpretation says those comments show his perspective is maybe clouded by simple-mindedness and arrogance. He might not fully grasp the law himself.
Interesting. The text actually says something like, understanding and misunderstanding aren't mutually exclusive.
Precisely. Correct understanding of something and misunderstanding of the same thing are not entirely mutually exclusive. So even small flaws could weaken how he guards the entrance.
Does this view see anything positive in him?
Yes, surprisingly. It also points to a possible friendly nature. Like when he jokes about letting the man in, gives him a stool, puts up with his questions, accepts the bribes delicately.
And bending down for the last question.
Seen as pity. Even his comment, "you are insatiable," could be read as mild impatience, or maybe even a kind of grudging admiration.
So this angle suggests the system isn't just rigid rules, but it's filtered through, well, flawed human beings.
Yeah. It makes you wonder how much of the barriers we face are the system itself, and how much is just the imperfect people enforcing it.
Okay, so we have the dutiful servant and the flawed gatekeeper. Is there more?
Oh, yes. There's a third take called the extreme opinion. And this one argues the doorkeeper himself is the one being deceived.
The doorkeeper is deceived. How does that work?
This view claims he doesn't actually know what the inside of the law is like. He only knows his little spot outside the door. His ideas about the inside are childish, and he's just projecting his own fears onto others.
So he's not powerful, he's just ignorant.
Worse than ignorant, maybe subordinate. This view flips the whole power dynamic.
Subordinate to the man from the country.
Yes, the man is free, can go anywhere else. The doorkeeper is stuck there, bound to his post, and bound only for this one man for whom alone this entrance is intended.
So his whole job only exists because of this one man.
Right. His duty was purely symbolic until the man arrived, and it ends when the man dies.
And him saying he'll shut the door?
According to this interpretation, that's the ultimate deception, because the door is always open. It suggests the doorkeeper doesn't understand the real nature of the law he serves. He doesn't even see the radiance the dying man perceives.
Wow, so the guard might be more of a prisoner than the person trying to get in.
That's the core idea.
Yeah.
Maybe less aware of what's really going on.
Which interpretation does Kay lean towards?
Initially, he goes for that third one, the extreme opinion. He thinks the doorkeeper's deception, even if it's just simple-mindedness, caused infinite harm, and he ought to be sacked immediately.
Makes sense from his perspective. But the priest pushes back.
He does. He kind of gently suggests that maybe these opinions, these interpretations, they're just an expression of despair, not something that's fundamentally unchanging.
Meaning what?
Meaning, perhaps, judging the doorkeeper, calling him subordinate, is basically like doubting the law itself. The priest argues maybe we should just accept what the doorkeeper says as necessary, even if it doesn't feel like the truth.
Not true. That's unsettling.
It challenges us.
Yeah.
Are we just imposing our human ideas of justice onto something that operates completely differently?
How does Kay take that?
He finds it incredibly bleak, a depressing opinion. He says it basically means the world is founded on untruth.
You can see why he'd feel that way.
He's exhausted by this point. He says the simple story has become totally misshapen by all these conflicting layers of meaning.
And just as they reach this point of, well, philosophical exhaustion, the lamp goes out.
Poof. The lamp Kay was holding goes out. Suddenly, he's lost in the pitch-black cathedral.
What does he do? Try to regain control.
He does. He asks the priest about the way out, the main entrance, suddenly claims he definitely has to get back to the bank.
Makes himself sound important again.
Yeah. Exaggerates his role, senior accountant. People are waiting, trying to reassert his old identity.
Does the priest buy it?
Doesn't seem like it. He just says, very simply, in that case, off you go. Gives him some vague directions towards an exit. Dismissive.
But Kay doesn't leave.
No, he calls out, asks the priest to wait. Admits the whole thing about the bank wasn't true, not as necessary as he had made out.
He still wants something from the priest. An explanation.
It seems so. He's looking for some kind of clarity, maybe comfort, after all that confusing talk.
And what does the priest say? Does he offer anything?
He offers one final chilling clarification. It really sums up the whole nature of the court, the law Kay is facing.
What is it?
He tells Kay, you must understand who I am. I belong to the court. The court does not want anything from you. It receives you when you come and dismisses you when you go.
Wow. So completely indifferent, impersonal.
Utterly. It's not about Kay's guilt or innocence, his struggles, his feelings.
Yeah.
The law just is. It receives, it dismisses, no answers, no judgment in the human sense.
And that's where their encounter ends, leaving Kay in the dark, literally and metaphorically.
Yeah. Kay's journey in this chapter really takes him from that very grounded, if anxious, professional world,
Worrying about his deputy manager.
right into this deeply unsettling philosophical space via the parable. And the parable itself, it just refuses to give a straight answer.
All those different interpretations, duty, deception, freedom, subordination, they just hang there, unresolved.
Exactly. The text presents truth, or maybe the law, as unchanging. But our human understanding of it, that seems endlessly debatable, open to interpretation.
Which leaves us with Kay's depressing opinion that maybe the world is founded on untruth, that the necessary thing isn't always the truth thing.
It's a heavy thought to end on.
It really is. And that leads us to our final thought for you, the listener, to maybe chew on.
How does Kay's situation, this whole parable, resonate today in your own life?
Yeah, think about it. How often do you run into systems or institutions, maybe even just narratives or expectations, that feel like they should be accessible, maybe even designed for you, but they remain closed off?
Guarded by figures, procedures, rules, where you can't quite figure out the real intention or if the guards even understand the system themselves.
And what's our responsibility then? Do we question the necessity of things, even if it feels destabilizing, even if it makes us feel like Kay, wondering if the world itself is somehow based on untruth?
Something to definitely think about.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.